So man, I wanted to make a video about this Onan generator. Bought a new Miramar last year about this time and never could get my generator to run right. I mean, I did everything to try to fix it. New carburetor, new fuel pump, new fuel filter. I mean, just everything. And what it would do is, it would sometimes run fine. You know, sometimes it will run for an hour while sitting. Sometimes it will run for an hour on the highway. But, you know, it would never run for long periods of time. I mean, maybe 45 minutes to an hour is the longest I can get it to run while the RV was actually moving. But sitting still, sometimes it will run for a good hour or so sometimes. But over the course of the year, it's been in and out of the shop. You know, I had private generator guy work on it and just could never get it to work. This last time it was in the shop for 2 months. I picked it up on Friday, and as soon as I hit the highway, it died. Okay, called the dealer, like, still doing it. Had a trip planned for the weekend, so I was supposed to drop it back off there tomorrow, which day is Sunday. So I was at the RV park this weekend, and I saw a guy with a Challenger there. And I put up on him, asked him what year it was, and asked him if he ever had any problems with his generator. And he was like, yeah, with it cutting off sometimes. And I said, yeah. He said, and he basically described the same problem I was having with mine. Basically, it would pretty much work okay if it was sitting still, but you get on the highway and it would start acting funny. And so what he told me, he said, yeah, I had the problem, and what he ended up doing was removing some oil from the unit, and he hadn't had a problem since. And I explained to him, I said, yeah, I heard that. I kind of played with that, but it never worked for me. So luckily the guy was nice enough, man. He took the time and he went and opened up his generator and showed me exactly where his oil level was at, right? And through our conversation, I was pretty confident that I was having the same problem that he had in the past. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go try to set my oil to exactly where his is at. So I went back to my unit, and actually this time my oil was low because I had played with it so many times, taking oil out, taking oil in. So essentially what I did is set my oil to exactly where his was at, which is in a range outside of well, it's within a range but of what the dipstick says, but the dipstick is basically wrong. You know, the oil in this thing needs to be set about 1/4 inch above the add fuel line, 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch above the add fuel line. And essentially I did that. The next day when I went to pull off, I turned the generator on, let it run for a while, got on the road, and was able to get all the way home without the generator stopping at all. I actually stopped at Cracker Barrel for about 1.5 hours, had breakfast, and let the generator run the whole time we was inside eating. Got back on the road for about 1.5 hour trip, and the generator ran, and it's actually still running right now while I'm talking to you. So just wanted to run it to see how long I can get this thing to run. So it's been running, looking at the counter, about 6 hours now, about 6 hours. And I've never ever, since I've owned this RV, been able to get this thing to run for 6 hours. So if you're having a problem with your generator, seeming like it shuts off, you know, and runs sometime, doesn't run other times, I can tell you that the oil thing that you may have seen online is 100% true. Literally today I added maybe 1/3 of a quart of oil, just 1/3 of a quart of oil, and for the first time I think I finally got the oil at the right point it needs to be at, where it's actually running perfect. You know, and prior to this, you know, when I picked it up, it was literally doing the same thing it did when I first bought the RV, when it had exactly how much oil the dipstick said it should be in there, you know. And at that time, from what I'm understanding, that's actually too much oil. So if you have one of these units, I mean, that oil needs to be about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch right past where it says add. I would honestly take my dipstick out and show you guys, but this thing is running and I don't want to bother it. I mean, it's a pain in the you know what to, you know, have these units and not have your AC working, especially in the summertime, because you can't run your ACs. You know, in the fall, it's not that big of a deal if you're not going somewhere where you boondocking, which I don't do too much of, but being on the road and not having AC, you know, with the heat we've been having is, you know, it's crazy. And my unit has literally been in the shop all summer to get the generator fixed. It's been in the shop for literally the last 8 weeks, you know, and I picked it up and, you know, and it was running fine when it was sitting, but the minute I got on the road, having the same issue. So I really hope this helps somebody, but that thing needs to be 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch past the add mark. I mean, this is the first time in 1 year I've been able to get my generator to consistently run. So I hope this helps somebody out. Lord knows I've messed with this thing so many times, had it in so many shops, man. I mean, just a lot of time and energy to get to this point. So I'm hoping this might help somebody that's going through the same thing. But the oil thing is most definitely 100% an issue with this thing. I don't know why they don't just change the dipstick. I don't know what it is, but I've seen enough posts and I've talked to enough people that have had this issue to know that this is a real issue, and it's unfortunate because, you know, you spend money on a big ticket item like this and to have a problem and then have nobody be able to figure it out, you know, it's just really, really difficult. But anyway, I hope this helps somebody, man.